Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see you all here. I think today we're having a very rainy day, and it's nice to, you're all lucky that you're all cozy at home listening to these classes. I hope you're having a good beginning. So today I want to start, I wouldn't say my class, it's just what we are sharing with each other, some information we are sharing. So I'm not teaching here. So please be sure of that. It's just that I'll be giving you some inputs. Whether you would like to accept them, whether you would like to follow them is up to you. Okay? So we're going to have a soft skills session, and we're just going to exchange some ideas. Or because I cannot take your ideas, I will try to give you as much information about something that could help you. So let's listen to a story, right? All of you would love to listen to a story right now, right? So let's begin with a nice story. You know, it was one of these days when, like this today, as it was raining so heavily in the morning, I could say it was raining cats and dogs, right? You must be wondering what ma'am's saying, cats and dogs. We'll come to that in a few classes. You know, the idiom raining cats and dogs actually means raining very heavily. So, as it was raining very heavily today, so it was one day at the beach, you know. So, there was this boy who was walking along the beach, and there was a big cyclone, as we call it, the previous evening, and this boy was walking along the beach. He was looking at the beach and walking along, and once in a while he was sitting down, picking something up and throwing it into the water. And then on the same beach there was an old man who was also an author. He used to write books. So it was his habit to walk along the beach, early morning walk. So this man, as you can see in the picture, this old man was walking along the beach, and he came to the little boy and he asked him, "What are you doing?" So, you know, then he looked at the ground and he saw on the beach that there were so many starfish. Can you identify this fish? It's called a starfish because it looks like a star. I am sure you see them, some of them even on the beach here, but very few. But these are very common in some of the colder countries. So he saw a lot of starfish lying on the ground. And this old man was very curious, and he said, "What are you doing?" You know, the boy was sitting down and picking up a starfish, and he asked him, "What are you trying to do?" He said, "I'm throwing this one back into the sea so it could live." And the old man laughed. He said, "Isn't that funny? There are thousands and thousands of starfish lying on the beach. How can you throw each and every one back into the sea?" And you know what the boy said? The boy said, in an hour's time, the sun will come out, and these starfish which are lying on the beach will die. Once the sun is out with that heat, they will die if they are not back in the water. So he said, "What I'm trying to do, probably I cannot save them all, but I could save this one starfish." See, it made a difference to that one. He threw one more back into the ocean. He said, "See, it made a difference to that one." "What difference can it make?" said the old man. Then he said, "It can make a difference to one starfish. Even if he could save 10 starfish, or maybe 50 starfish, 100 starfish, and among the thousands. Even if he could save 10, 15, 100, whatever, you know, whatever he was capable of, that little boy, he saved those. So it made a difference in the lives of those starfish which were alive and in the sea. So look at the positive attitude of the boy. This is where we go into our topic. Today, we are going to talk about positive attitude. Right? And I'm Shailaja. I'm a soft skill trainer, and I'm here to just give you information, give you awareness, give you a little knowledge about soft skills, what it can do to improve your life, how this will help you, if not, achieve great success, but it will put you on the right path to success. Whether you are in the 5th standard, 10th standard, intermediate, degree, past degree, PG, or working, this is a skill all of you need. And the more or the better soft skills you have, the better chances are of your success. So let's go ahead and see why are we stressing about positive attitude? Why is it so important? Why can't a person say, no, I can't do this, and then be happy? Because he can't, So positive attitude is something all of us have, right? Whether if you're a human being, you have an attitude. It could be positive, it could be negative. 2 types of attitude. It could be positive, it could be negative. I'm sure all of you are aware of this. Suppose you're planning to go to a movie. As friends, I'm sure after 10th standard, after intermediate, you must have all planned to go to a movie, right? There might be a bunch of 5 friends, and one of the friend will say, oh, it's impossible to get tickets. I don't think we'll get. It's a Sunday. I don't think we'll get. And then I'm sure all the other 4 will look at him. How can this fellow be so negative? Or how can this girl be so negative? Why? And there will be one who said, no matter what, I will try and get the tickets, or I will see that we get the tickets, or we will try till we succeed. And then they go for the movie. Probably they'll get the tickets to the movie or not. That's a different matter. But they've put their 100% into trying to get those tickets, right? I'm sure all of you have done that. You've been there, done that, and have been successful so many times. So that's the kind of attitude I want you to have, whether it's in school, whether it's going for a movie, whether it's studying, whether it's trying for something new. That is the attitude we want you to have in life towards things that matter. Of course, movie mattered when you just passed your 10th standard, going to a movie was your priority. Then, as you grow older and as you get into higher standards, you have to prioritize properly and then have a proper attitude towards them. So that's why a small lesson, or I wouldn't say a lesson, a little information about why you should have a positive attitude and why it is important, not for just a student. Well, I'm a teacher, or I'm actually a trainer. I wouldn't call myself a teacher because I don't want to teach. I just want to exchange information or give as much inputs or information as possible to my students or to my friends. So even I need to have a positive attitude. If I didn't have a positive attitude, I wouldn't be here today trying to talk to you, because I would believe, oh, no matter, even if I tell them, they're not going to follow, doesn't matter. But then that's not the attitude I have. I feel that if I teach 100 students, even if 10 of them think about this class, listen to this class, and maybe follow a few things from this class, I'm happy. My day is made. So I'm positive all the time. So that's what I want you all to be also. So attitude is everything. See, no matter how talented you are, how good you are at some subject, how well you can do something, if you don't have the right attitude, you will not go far. Generally, when a child is studying, or you think that okay, if he's studying well and if he's getting 90% or 95% in his exams, or maybe 98, 99, there might be some of you who are getting 98% and more. Can you guarantee that this 98% student or 99% student is going to be very successful? Is he going to become a CEO one day? Or is he going to own a big company one day? Or is he going to become a great entrepreneur or a great businessman, or maybe a great politician? Can you guarantee that? I'm sure most of you will say no. Your knowledge, your skills, whatever you learned is only 50% of you. The other 50% is your attitude. So only when you have both equal measure can a person be successful. You know, I'm sure all of you looking at, today or this moment or this year or the past year has been a year of COVID-19, right? All of us have gone through this COVID-19 problems or challenges that it's thrown at us, and we have tried to come out of it. And you know, when you go to a doctor, all doctors, all of them have studied MBBS and have done PG, and they're very, you know, they're very educated and they've done so many degrees. But who is the doctor that you will go to when you're sick? Right? If you go to a doctor and he tells you, looks at your pulse, oh, you have 104 temperature and you're suffering from COVID, very less chances. You might survive, 50-50. You might survive, or COVID is so bad that, you know, anything can happen. That's one doctor. And another doctor says, he looks at your pulse and he says, COVID, okay, your chances are like 50-50, but I'm very happy that you've come to me and that you've come at the right time. We will try our best, give you the best medicines, and we will try to make you better. We will give you a lot of, help with all our medicines. You've come to the best place. Which doctor do you prefer? The person who said 50-50, you might live or die, or the person who says, he also said 50-50, but he says, we will try and make you better. He's given you a lot of positive attitude. What has the other doctor done? He's just given you, probably not negative, but he's not giving you any hope. So you see, which doctor would you prefer? I'm sure all of us would love to go to the second doctor, whatever our chances are. We would like to take those chances with a doctor who thinks positively, right? So attitude is everything. Whether you succeed in whatever you're doing, it could be a small 100 meters race in school. Right? Even there, if you're standing there at the starting line and thinking, this boy can run faster than me, that girl can do something better than me, what if I fall, what if everybody laughs at me? Can you finish the race? No, right? Only that boy who's standing at the start line and thinking that I want to win this race and I'm going to win this race, only that boy will win. He will not worry about what others are thinking. He will not worry about falling down. He will not worry about who is faster than him or who is slower than him. Or he will not worry about how the path is, because it's the same same ground for everyone, same road for everyone. So the person who's not thinking about all these things but only worrying about what he can do is going to be the winner. Right? So attitude is everything. Do you think, I'm sure some of you may have done this, but it really, amazes me that when you talk about attitude, even when you think about science and technology and numbers and all that, even all those combined, if you put a number to every alphabet in English, that is, if you would get to give A1, B2, C3, and likewise up to Z, which is 26, and then you write the spelling and add up those numbers, you know what? Hard work gets 98. Hard work is good. All of us have to work hard. Without hard work, there is no, success. They also say that there is no shortcut to hard work, right? Today we think of smart work and all those things, but even for smart work, you have to work hard but smartly, right? So hard work, and if you think about who's going to who are the ones who get ranks in MSET and NEET and all these competitive exams, it's not the most intelligent ones, it's the most hard-working ones. Right? His intelligence may not be like, 100%, but even if it's 95%, he makes up with hard work for the rest of the 5%. So it's hard work. And hard work, when you add it up, it comes to 98. And look at knowledge. Knowledge is also good. Knowledge is what all of us should have. Knowledge is what you're all looking for, right? But all the knowledge in the world, when you add it up, it comes to 96. But write attitude on a piece of paper and add up what it comes to. It comes to 100. Do you think it is a coincidence? Yeah, sometimes I'm amazed. How can this happen? How can attitude be 100%? You try anything. Try money, try success, try any word you want. But most of them that are needed for, for success are only 98, 95, 96. Only attitude gets to that perfect 100%. So what is everything trying to tell us? All the numbers, all the alphabets, they're all trying to tell us that attitude is the most important one. Whether hard work is important, knowledge is important, working, skills are important, but money is important, success is important, but along with all these or more than any of these, attitude comes first. So if you have the right attitude, when I say right attitude, I mean a positive attitude. In everything, it could be as simple as, oh, today is a rainy day, maybe I shouldn't go to class. That's a negative attitude, right? So what does rain have to do, anything to do with your going to class? Nothing, that's just an excuse, right? So if you have a positive, maybe I can learn something today. Maybe even if I get 1 point that is useful for me for the future. That's how you inculcate a positive attitude. So again, attitude also depends on beliefs and patterns. Patterns are your habits, the habit you have. Like, we say punctuality is a good habit to have. Being neat and clean is a good habit to have. Why? Because they dictate how you behave. If you are used to being punctual and being on time, maybe being before time, so you are always never going to be late, right? That is a positive attitude. If you have a belief that, I'm sure all of you have this belief that if you pray to God before an exam, He is going to pass you. I don't know if God is actually listening, because I don't know, during exam time, how can He listen to all these millions of students? They forget about Him through the year, and in March they remember Him. March, April, they'll remember. How can He take so many calls? I really don't know. So, but we believe in Him, right? We all know that, oh, God is listening to me. I prayed today before exam, so He's listening to me. That's our belief, right? So our attitude is shaped by our beliefs, it's shaped by our patterns, it's shaped by our habits, it's shaped by the values that we live in, the culture that we live in, our attitude. If you have an attitude at home that, only girls do the work, or if you have a belief that only girls need to work at home, and that, as a boy, you don't need to clean, take your plate, wash your plate, or help yourself to anything. You think that that's a girl's job. That is not the right kind of attitude to have. Today, if you were to go abroad, if you were to go and live in a city, if you didn't know how to do your own work, you are the one who's going to be at a loss, because you've never tried that before. So that's a very wrong attitude to have. So it's your belief that only girls do household work which has led you to have that attitude, right? So you have to change that belief. You have to change that belief that no matter whether it's a girl or a boy, you need to do your own, you need to help yourself. You need to do your own work. Whether it is cleaning up after you, your plate or your room, there's no difference today. Today, girls and boys all are going abroad, all are working really hard, and so there's nothing like only girls can do this, only boys can do that. So that's an attitude. That is because of your belief. So you should change that attitude. So beliefs actually, they make your attitude. So change your beliefs. Change your patterns. If you do not have a proper belief, change them, change it. If you're not punctual, if you have this habit of being lazy or procrastinating, what is procrastination? It means putting things off for another day. Oh, today it's raining, I'll not go and get that book, I'll buy it tomorrow. Doesn't matter one day late. So tomorrow it will rain more. You probably will not get it tomorrow also. So that is procrastination, and that is a very bad habit to have. So unless you change that habit or that pattern, your attitude will not change. So it's all interlinked. So your attitude is all dependent on your beliefs and patterns. Why? Let me tell you with an example. So try all this: money, success, hard work, belief, put numbers to it and see how much you get, whether it equals 100% or not. Believe me, most of them don't. Don't mind. And who better to talk about attitude than Thomas Alva Edison, right? I'm sure most of you, whether you're physics students or not, we all use the light bulb. And we all know who invented the light bulb. You know, did he invent it in the first go? No. He said, 10,000 times he tried that filament, and it did not work. Only after 10,000 times did it actually work. So what did he say? He didn't think that, oh, I wasted 10,000 efforts, I wasted so much time. He never said that. He only said, look at the quote, I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That he's learned something from the 10,000. This way it will not work. This way it will not work, until he found a way that worked. Isn't that an example of perfect positive attitude? If he gave up even on the 9th, 10th or the 999th time, would we have bulbs today? Would we have this today? Probably everything is just evolved after the light bulb, right? So probably we would still be in the dark. Who knows? Until somebody else came along maybe who had such a positive attitude. So I can take hundreds of examples. Abraham Lincoln, he was a president of America, and he was a failure at everything. At 27, his wife died. At 28, or I may not be very correct in the numbers, but the timeline, but it's all true, right? He lost his election, he lost his son, and then he for the governor of another state, he lost that election, then he fell sick. He could have given up at any time, but he did not. He always had a positive attitude. And he became the most famous president of America when he was after so many years, maybe 40s or late 40s, he became the president of United States of America, and he brought in so many changes. The black were allowed to vote during his tenure. The first time the black person, or the African American as we call him today, was allowed to vote. So he brought in so many legislations, and today we talk about Abraham Lincoln in a very great way. But if he had given up at any time, if he had a negative attitude any time, he would never have been what he was. So as I was telling you, beliefs, look at this picture. Can you see the coal, burning coal at her feet? You know how she's able to walk that? Can you imagine, even if you step on a matchstick, you'll jump, saying, my God, it's burning, burning, burning. So you touch a hot vessel and you will start jumping. Oh my God, burnt, burnt. But this woman is walking on hot coals. How is she able to do that? Not just for 2 or 3 steps. Generally this is about 10 meters or so. How is she doing that? It's her belief. It is her mind, it is her attitude. She believes that if she walks on those hot coals, whatever problem she has, whatever trouble she's having, will be solved. That God, whether it's Durga or Kali or whomever they're praying for, they will solve those problems. It is the attitude, positive attitude she's having. So during having that attitude, even these hot coals will not burn her. You see, there's a woman waiting, ready to go next after her. So that is the, the effect or the this thing of belief. If you have belief, if you have that attitude, nothing can stop you, nothing will trouble you, nothing is too difficult. It's just the attitude. Can you, I'm sure all of you will see that when you go to, if you just go and see some of the video, I'm sure you're all watching a lot of net and, phones and all that. Go and see the training that the athletes have, whether it was a Mary Kom who's still winning Olympic medals, or whether it was a Malliswari or the Fogart sisters. I'm sure you've seen those movies, so whether any of these sportsmen, the training they go through, the effort they put in, how hard it is to work out day in and day out, then you will realize, why do they do that? They do it with a positive attitude, believing that they can win, believing that they will come first in that race, believing that they are better than others. That is the attitude which brings success to them. Do you know him? Right? I'm sure some of you will do. Ring a bell? Have you seen him before? Have you seen his picture before? When I say seen him, doesn't mean in person, but in pictures, have you seen him? I'm sure some of you have recognized him. And where do you think he is? Can you see these bars? Where do you think he is? Right? Prison bars, right? This is a picture of Nelson Mandela, the South African freedom fighter who fought against apartheid in South Africa for the freedom of the black Africans. And he was in jail for nearly 34 years. Most of his prime youth, like I think he was jailed when he was 20 or so, and he came out when he was in his 50s, around 54. 34 years he spent in jail. If he didn't have a positive attitude, do you think he could have come out of jail and become the president of South Africa from 94 to 99? No, right? So even in jail, he had that positive attitude, saying that I will succeed one day. What I'm fighting for is the right thing to do, and this is what I'm doing for not only myself but for my country. And with that attitude, he lived in jail. He was put in horrible conditions. He was put in, for some time he was put in a single cell where he couldn't speak to anyone, he couldn't interact with anyone. But he was a very soft-spoken, good-natured guy, and so he really, survived those 34 years, not because he was given a hale and healthy breakfast and lunch and dinner, because of his mind, because of his attitude. He not only survived and came out of it, but he went on to become the president of South Africa. So that is the power of positive attitude. That is what attitude can do to us. Anybody recognize her? I'll get out of the way. Recognize her? I'm sure some of you do. No? The word Malala ring a bell? She is Malala Yousafzai. Okay? So who is she? What was her story? How was her story tell us about positive attitude? Actually, she was a schoolgirl in Pakistan. She lived in northwestern Pakistan, which is very close to Afghanistan. And where she lived, in that village, the girls were barred from going to school. The Taliban gave a fatwa, or fatwa is a notice, a ruling saying that girls should not go to school, girls should not be educated. But she used to go to school regularly, and she used to speak out in her school about girl education, that how everybody is equal, that everybody should get an education. And one day, the Taliban terrorists, they came to her house, and when she was coming back from school, they shot her. They shot her. She had a bullet wound to her shoulder or somewhere near her eye. There is a slight difference. Now you can't make out, but she had a bullet wound. She was shot. They thought she was dead when she fell down, and they left her and they went away. But This girl did not die. She got up and then she survived. She was actually immediately shifted to a hospital in Pakistan and later brought over to England. But then she did not die. She got up and then she became a very, firm activist for women's education, women's rights in Pakistan, that women and girls should be educated. So now she lives in Birmingham in England, and there she started a Malala Fund, which is in her name, where she sends all the proceeds towards girl education in Pakistan. And you know what? Today she's a motivational speaker. At one time she didn't know how to, she didn't know a few words of English. She didn't know even how to say how are you when she was in Pakistan. She only knew Urdu and whatever her language was. But later she survived that incident. She went on to learn English, and today she gives speeches in English. She's a motivational speaker. And all this when she was just 14 or 15, this happened. She was 97 she was born, and 2012, that is about when she was 12 years and 3. When she was 15 she was shot. Imagine, that's the age when we don't know nothing, when we can't even think for ourselves. I'm sure you're all waiting for your parents to tell you which degree to join, which course to take and all. But this girl had a mind of her own. She had that attitude that this is what I want to do. And at 17, she won the Nobel Prize. She is the youngest ever girl to win a Nobel Prize. So, in 2015 she got it. So that is another positive story for you. So, there are so many things. If you just look around us, we find all the time. But what are we doing? We are only taking in the negative. Oh, the weather is not good. Oh, Corona is. Why aren't you going to class? Corona, so I don't want to go to classes. Oh, I'm not well. I'm not going to do this. Oh, that is too far. I can't do it. We are always looking for those little excuses, and making ourselves very negative. So we have to look around us, search for positive things around us. I'll just come to that point also. Look at this girl. Anybody recognize Arunima Sinha? Have you heard that before? Does it ring a bell, or have you ever seen her picture somewhere? You know that she's also speaking. She's got a microphone and things like that. So she must be a famous name, but have you heard about her? I'll tell you in a minute. So she's Arunima Sinha, who was born in 1989. Young girl again. And I'm sure all of you recognize this, right? Mount Everest. How many of us would love to go there and, if not climb it, at least watch it, go close to Mount Everest and see it. It's so close to us. We are lucky to have the highest peak in the world very close to us, right? So let's see what this about Arunima Sinha. Let me tell you another small story. Arunima Sinha was actually an athlete. She was a volleyball player. One day she was returning from Delhi to her place in Lucknow. She lives in UP, some village in UP. So she was returning by train, and then what happened? Some robbers wanted to pull her chain, gold chain. She was wearing a gold chain, and they were trying to take her purse and her gold chain. And she resisted them. She fought with them. Then they pushed her out of the train. They were probably in the entrance, and these robbers, because she resisted them, she fought them, they pushed her out of the train, and she fell out of a running train. And as luck would have it, the moment she fell down, her head and body were off the track, but her legs fell onto the track on the opposite side. Generally, as you know, there are two tracks, right? So one train goes, and then there's one track very close to it. There's a difference about 3 or 4, 5, 6 feet between those tracks, maybe 10 feet. So she fell off this train, but her legs fell onto the track on the other side. And very soon another train passed and her legs were cut off. Very sad, right? Her legs were chopped off, and she lay there like that without help, without anybody knowing, for nearly a whole evening, whole night. Next morning, somebody found her and they took her to the hospital. And lo and behold, what did the doctors tell her? That she could never walk again. That both her legs have to be amputated just below the knee or something, and that she probably would not walk again. And everybody around her was devastated. Can you imagine a young, healthy girl going for to play a tournament, and while coming back this happening? Let alone walk, doctors told you're lucky to be alive. And this girl was on the hospital bed thinking, oh my God, what has happened to me? She could have thought like that, and that I wish I would die rather than live without legs. She could have thought like that. She could have thought that, oh my God, now I'm going to be dependent on my parents and everybody else just to live my life. She could have thought like that. But this girl sat on a hospital bed and thought, why am I living? God must be having a purpose to keep me alive. And there she made a decision. She said, then she was amputated and she was given the prosthetic legs. All of you know what prosthetic legs are, artificial legs are attached to the body. And she said, with the help of these prosthetic legs, I want to climb the Mount Everest. Until then, nobody had done that on prosthetic legs. On artificial limbs, it is difficult as it is to climb Mount Everest with normal legs. A normal, healthy human being, it takes, a lot of determination and courage and energy and stamina. But imagine climbing on artificial legs. But this girl decided she wanted to do it. And you know what? She actually succeeded doing it. You can see a picture of her with her prosthetic legs on very close to the Mount Everest. And she went and met Bachendri Pal. I hope you know her, or at least you'll know her now. This is Bachendri Pal, who climbed, she was the first woman to climb Mount Everest in 2011. She went and met her because, as one woman to another, as one mountain climber to another, she wanted to take her advice. She went and met her. And then what Bachendri Pal told her, that it's really amazing how, one sportsman can understand the ambition and the attitude of another sportsman. She said, you have decided to climb Mount Everest. I'm sure you can do it. You've already climbed Mount Everest. It's in your mind. It's only the date which the world has to know. The date when you will actually reach the peak. That's just what is still in suspense. But your climbing Mount Everest is a done thing because it is your attitude which has taken you there. So it's giving me goosebumps even talking about it. See, imagine the amount of positive attitude a person should have to achieve something like this. So that is Bachendri Pal with Arunima Sinha. And she was also awarded the Padma Shri in 2015 for being, she did do it, and she was awarded the Padma Shri. It took a lot of hard work, lot of training, lot of exercises, a lot of endurance and lot of positive attitude. Imagine the positive attitude you should have to overcome a challenge like that. So it is not the disability that we have physically which is stopping us. It is our mental disability, it is our mental attitude which is actually stopping us. So if we have that attitude of positivity, we can achieve anything. If she can do that, a person with two legs, even you can. Right? It just needs a lot of training and determination and that attitude. So this is what positive attitude can do to you. Another small thing, I'm sure all of you have seen these pictures of, elephants being tied to a small tree, right? So when the elephant is young and little, what do they do? What does the mahout do? Mahout is the person who takes care of the elephant. What does he do? He ties the elephant to a tree, and the elephant tries to pull itself out and try to free itself. It can never do that because it is too young and the tree is quite big. See, you can see a big tree there, and the elephant is too young. So it tries and tries and tries. It tries for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then it gives up, saying, this is something which I cannot break. This is something that I cannot free myself. And the elephant is conditioned to think that once my leg is tied to something, I cannot free myself. That is the attitude which it develops. And what happens, because the elephant is not as intelligent as a human being, when it grows big, when it becomes a full-sized elephant which can mow down 10 people at a go, or 2 or 3 jeeps and tractors in one instant with its trunk, it is tied to a small pole and it is made to stand. But does the elephant try to pull that pole if it really wants to? Don't you think it can do that? Think about it. Can't it pull this pole and free itself? But it doesn't. Why doesn't it do that? Again, attitude. Because it believes that that's all it can do. Because it tried some time long back, only that is stuck in its memory, that I have tried, I failed, I'll not succeed. So here, he does not even try. The Mahat ties him to a small stick, small stick, and he is stuck. He doesn't even try to move out of that thing. He doesn't even try pulling. I'm sure if you've gone to some temples in Bhadrachalam and temples in the south, Thiruvananthapuram and all, they have elephants. And you have so many people walking around it. And what is it tied to? With a small rope, it's tied to one small stick or one small stand there. And it doesn't move. So, the elephant's attitude has been that I'm stuck, I cannot do anything. So, if you have that kind of attitude, you are stuck too. So, come out of that attitude, come out of that inhibitions, come out of those things and try again. You could have failed once. This elephant failed when it was a child. It doesn't try when it's an adult. So, you could have failed once, so you could succeed the next time, right? So, that's all depends on your attitude. Doctors and medicine. All of us go to doctors, right? And all of us falling sick nowadays, we all go to doctors. And the moment the doctor says that, oh, this is a small thing, no problem, you'll get well, and he'll give you some medicines. What do you come home and do? You'll take that medicine and you'll feel happy. Doctor told me that I'll get better in 2 days. I'm sure after 2 days you'll get up and say, yeah, doctor, I went to the doctor, he gave me medicines, I'm better. Right? So, if you go and probably ask the doctor will say, I didn't just gave him some placebos. Or, that fellow only has the sickness in his mind. So, I just gave him some tablets. So, those tablets are actually nothing. But he gets better. How? Because of his attitude. Because he thinks that he will get better only with that medicine. So, he gets better. And today, with COVID-19 also, they also say that COVID-19, getting better after COVID-19, it all depends on your mind. If you have a positive attitude while going to the hospital, while you're sick, that I will come out of this, strong and healthier or better, people come out of it. People who are depressed, who think that, oh my God, this has come and I probably won't survive. Such people, I believe, really suffer or really go downhill. So, even in these times, it is the people with a positive attitude will come out healthier or get better soon, and people with a negative attitude will suffer a lot. So, medicines can only do so much. The rest has to be done with your mind. The rest has to be done with your attitude. So, sometimes you see, even I'm sure in your villages, in your homes, you'll see a grandmother who's 90 still doing her work. But some aunt who's only 50 thinks that, she can't do anything. Right? It's not that this lady is healthy and she can actually work and that the lady is unhealthy. It's just that their attitude. They believe that they cannot do it, then they cannot. Same thing with you people. If you believe you cannot, you cannot. If you believe you can, you can. And even they say, the word impossible has, write the spelling of impossible, I-M-P-O possible. Right? Even the word impossible says, it's trying to tell us, I am possible. Put an apostrophe after I, it's I am possible. So, impossible, there's nothing called impossible. So your attitude makes you mentally strong. You can either have a hopeless end. If you're sick, you can have an hopeless end. Or you can, if you think you don't succeed, or you can have endless hope. So all of us live with hope, right? So unless we have hope, unless we have a positive, unless we believe that we can get out of this corona and that we can succeed, that we can probably next year we'll have no corona, we can do all the things we want to do. Unless we believe in that, unless all of us, whether it's in India, whether it's in Kakinada, Rajahmundry, India, world over, unless you believe that we can succeed, we can come out of this with flying, we will not. So it all depends on our attitude. Change your thoughts and you change your world. Norman Wilson Powell. He was the author of the book called The Power of Positive Thinking. He was an American minister and he wrote this book, which is a beautiful book. If you ever get a chance, read it. And he says, positive thinking is everything. Your attitude is everything. With, like we talked about Arunima Sinha, we talked about Malala Yousafzai, we talked about Nelson Mandela. With them, attitude was everything. All their success, whether it's a Gandhiji or whether it's a Sachin Tendulkar, whether it's a Dhoni, they all had this positive attitude, right? Another small story before we quickly wrap up this session. There was a king who thought all my people are very lazy. Everybody is happy in my kingdom, but people are getting really lazy. Let me try to do something. So he put a roadblock. He put a big boulder on the road saying that whoever moves that boulder, let me see who moves that boulder. The next day, people came, they saw that boulder, merchants, businessmen, farmers, children, everybody saw that boulder. They just walked around it or went through another route. There's a blockage somewhere, you generally take another route. So people started moving like that. But there was this one farmer who was selling vegetables on a, bandi. So he came down, he saw this boulder and he said, oh my God, this boulder is blocking the way, so let me clear it. You can see it's a huge boulder. And so it took a lot of effort from him. He stopped his cart onto one side and he pushed it and took a little, and then he was able to move it. And lo and behold, what does he find under that? He finds a pot of gold. The king had actually put a pot of gold under that boulder just to see who has that attitude of, clearing their way. So whenever you have a positive attitude, whenever you want to overcome a challenge, God will help you. Whoever you believe in will help you. And there's always something in store for the person who has a positive attitude. So the farmer found that pot of gold just because his attitude was, I would like to remove this challenge, not only for myself, but for people coming after me. So he got the pot of gold. So let's look at how sportsman attitudes actually matter. Just a minute, I'll get some help to play this small 1-minute video for you. Let's look at this.
There was a study done in Florida at a tennis academy, and what they looked at was, what is the difference between those tennis players that are top 5 in the world versus those that are top 25? Was it their diet? No. Was it their exercise? No. Was it when they started playing the game? No. Was it their coaching? And the others in the top 25 was their thinking. In the 10 to 15 seconds after a point had been scored in tennis, those athletes that thought positive things such as, I love this game, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. I may have not got that shot, but I'm going to get the next one. Watch this. Those athletes that thought positive, it slowed down their heart rate, slowed down their breathing rate, and across the entire competition, they were conserving a lot of energy. They were feeling better about themselves, and thus across the entire tennis match. in the end, they were victorious.
I'm sure all of you heard what he said. If you didn't get it, he was just trying to, he's a performance psychologist. So what he said, he's a doctor. What did he say? That it is, you know, top 5 athletes or the top 25 athletes, there is very little difference in ability, in strength or in stamina. So he said, how are the top 5 better than the 25? How is it that only, you know, you always see Roger Federer winning again, or Djokovic winning again, or Nadal winning again, and in women's you hear the Williams sisters. So how do they win again and again? So I'm sure there are so many other players who are actually playing well, or maybe a little better than them. So is it their diet? Is it their stamina? Is it their strength? What is making them win? It's none of these that the coaches said. It is their attitude. It is their positive attitude. If they believe that after they play a stroke and they have lost that stroke, they've hit it into the net, they do not think that, oh my God, I lost this point. What they think is, I love this game. I'm going to show them in the next point. I'm going to win the next point. I'm going to get this match. I'm better than the next person. That's how they think about it. That's how positive thinking helps them. And then they go ahead and win that match. So it is, you know, generally, even whether it's tennis, whether it's cricket, whether it's any of these games, it is because talent-wise, all teams are equal. Even in a cricket match, you know, Australian team is as strong as an Indian team and a New Zealand team. But what helps them win in the end, it is their positive attitude. It is their attitude that they can win. So that is the attitude that you should develop. Whether you're a sportsman, doesn't matter. For sportsmen, it's all the more necessary because it is just the next point is which is going to help them win. But for us also, it is our attitude which will help us win. So how does a student how is a student affected by positivity? Because easier to ask for help. If you are positive, you generally have the confidence to ask for help, saying you can ask your parents or your friends or your siblings for help. Hey, I'm not able to do this problem. Can you help me? Oh, I'm not able to learn this subject properly. Dad, can you help me with some tuitions or something like that? It's easier to ask. When you have a positive attitude, it's easier to ask for help. And then positivity can improve your health. This is the main thing. As I told you, doctors also say that, psychologists say that, scientists say that. It's all in the brain, you know. Even a cancer patient survives not because they've given him some extraordinary medicines. He survives because of his willpower. What is his willpower? It is his positive attitude. So it can actually slower your blood pressure and your heart rate. That is what happens to players when they are playing. Have you ever seen, why is Dhoni called Captain Cool? Why is he called that? Because a small somebody dropping a catch or somebody missing a catch or somebody doesn't upset him. He does not think this is the end of the world and shout at that player. He just watches, looks at him and he's cool. Because he knows that player himself will be cursing himself for missing that point. And he believes that his team, that player, his teammate can catch the ball next time it comes. So it drops, lowers his blood pressure, and he doesn't scream and shout and, make everybody else tense around him. It is that coolness which helps them win the game. So that is, the adrenaline rush which is there goes down and they become calmer with a positive attitude. And it increases your satisfaction in life. If you have a positive attitude, you're not looking at everybody else and saying, oh, he is better than me, she has more than me, he scores better than me, he can study better than me, oh, he is a rich man, he has a bike or things like that. You're not comparing yourself with others and looking at others. You're comparing yourself with you. Are you better than what you were before? Okay, that is what positive attitude does. So it takes you away from negativity And positive attitude helps you grow. That is, you try to do new things. You're not afraid of being, you're failing at anything, because even failure is, as Edison will tell you, is you learn something even from failure. Oh, you'll not do it like that time. You know, if you're not able to pass an exam sometime or not able to score, you know that that is not the way to study for the next exam. So that's what it teaches you. So you learn from your mistakes. Positive attitude, everybody falls down without, they say that, you know, you can't learn to ride a bicycle without falling down. So everybody falls down. It is how quickly you get up. You know, there are people I know that who've ridden a rode a two-wheeler, they had a small accident, they say, oh my God, too scary, I can never drive. They've given up. But there are people who will get up, learn and come back and drive better. So you have to learn from your mistakes. You should not give up something just because you failed once. That is positive attitude. And always look at the positive side of things. So we'll come almost to the end. So what is this glass? I'm sure you've seen this glass before. Is it half full, half empty, or 50% filled with liquid? Tell me, think about it. And some of you may have seen it. Let me tell you what this glass is. It is, technically the glass is full. Half is water and half is air, right? Technically it is full. So it is the way you look at it which differs. Attitude is like an iceberg. Can you see somebody and tell from looking at that person whether he has a positive attitude or negative attitude? Very difficult. You can't, because all that is hidden underneath. Just like an iceberg, 75% of the iceberg is under water, only the 25% is on top. So your attitude is also there, lying somewhere underneath you, inside you, which cannot be seen. It is your behavior, the way you act, the way you speak, the way you smile or laugh or, you know, talk to others, the way you behave, the way you think about things. That is your attitude, which is hidden, and this should be a positive one. It's only when this attitude, which is more than 75% of you, will help you do the 25% of knowledge, acquire these will help you do that. This is more important to get to that. And if for success, attitude is as important as ability, like everybody will tell you. Okay, thank you. With that, I hope you all will sign off with a positive attitude today and go on to do something positive. Change your mindset if you're thinking negatively. Think positive, be positive, and sure everything else around you will turn out positive. Bye for now. See you in the next class. I'm Shailaja.